These days, I wake up at 4:20 a.m. on the nose. Smoke a bowl. No, just kidding. I don't smoke anymore. That pouch you found in my underwear drawer, that I'm holding it for a friend. Seriously, I don't smoke. And I'm not just saying that because my friend Jenna is here and her brother-in-law is a cop. Hey, Jenna. I promise, I don't judge you if you do, especially if you're a postmenopausal woman who smokes for sleep. Maybe you ingest some type of gummy or brownie. I worry about the gummies because don't they stick in your teeth if you're taking it at bedtime after you've already brushed and flossed? So that's one thing about CBD that I'm scared of. And then, of course, I'm just scared if THC is going to make me crazy because I was the kid who'd smoke one hit and start palpitating and for whom time stood still or sped up. I could never tell. Did I get to this party 5 minutes ago or a week ago? The last time I ever got high was, and I'm not making this up, on railroad tracks blocks from my house. It was with my friend Sharon, a girl from our janky Catholic school, definitely not college prep, no St. Agnes, and some random public school guys whom we somehow met on the weed eat, in both senses of the word, tracks of a summer evening. How very Stand By Me, you might say. But it wasn't the country or suburbia, but the southwest side of Chicago, with its rat and cop populations hurrying near. No offense to your bro, Jenna. It was after dinner, around 6:30. I was 15. Who can say what led Sharon and me to this spot, just out for our evening constitutional amid broken glass and flies? But that's what we did from about 6th grade on, in all seasons. Just roam around the neighborhood, caging cheese cube samples from the newly erected monumental Jewel Grand Bazaar grocery store, kicking bags of leaves on curbs, throwing snowballs, playing ring and run. Now that I think of it, Sharon must have known one of these guys. Anyway, we teens had convened and scrambled up onto an embankment, one kid's hand pulling up the next kid. A giant joint was rolled, proffered, and puffed. And upon its exhaustion, I instantaneously decided that it was time for me to go home. With the patented good judgment of youth, plus the cannabis coursing through my veins, I knew with every stone fiber of my being that I had to leave. The fact that my parents would witness my condition 1 second after I smoked a giant doobie for the first time, this never crossed my decade from being fully developed mind. To review, it was summer of 77 and still light outside. I wasn't expected home for a few hours, having just smoked a giant joint with strange boys 5 minutes before. Yep, time to head back to my house. I'd best be getting on. And so, I jumped down off the cement block, and when my feet hit the ground, my ankles winced, and my head started spinning. Fizzy. I felt fizzy. The fizz head, coupled with ankle pain, only served to cement yet more firmly the urgent need for me to be home under my parents' watchful eyes. Yes, surveillance is what I needed. I put my hand out on the rough cement to steady myself, settle the fizz factor. I even leaned my forehead against it for a sec, felt the grit in my brow, grounding. The other kids in the cement council tried to dissuade me from rushing straight home in my condition. They'd been babbling for hours, or perhaps 2 minutes. I heeded them not. And so I ran, shouting goodbye over my shoulder to Sharon and the fellas. I sped homeward on the tracks like some crazy cartoon character, feet whirling, eyes fixed on the railroad ties flying under my feet, plink, 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 afraid to look up. Thankfully, this is not a story about a train, or I would not be here to tell it. Sweating and freaking out more and more with each wooden slat passing under my slippery jellies, I raced onward, propelled by the momentum of my stoned logic. Must get home. Nearing my block, I took no time to say, collect my thoughts, find a stick of gum, check myself in the bathroom mirror, take a sip of the powdered Lipton iced tea chilling in the fridge all summer long, splash some cold water on my face, catch my goddamn breath, turn back? Never thought to make a plan, form an alibi. No cement slab to lean on now? Must get inside. And so I burst through the front door into the family living room where my mom and dad sat watching the White Sox game as usual throughout my childhood. Normally, except for guests, one entered via the back door, a move that would have bought me at least a few minutes and also convey a sense of normalcy. But oh, not that night. Just get right up close to them with the sticky sweet pot breath and red eyes and palpable panic on display. And so, unmediated, I stood before the two of them, crazed, exposed, and as my mom would later correctly pronounce, higher than a kite. I perched onto a Spanish gold wing chair as if casually to watch the game with them. Nothing to see here, folks. Just me back after a 10-minute or 3-hour walk. Your teenage daughter kicking back to catch the home team. Soon, my paranoid fast talking took over. Who are they playing? What's the score? What inning? Puzzled, then quickly solving the puzzle, my mom said, "Whitey," my dad's nickname, "she's on something." They had been schooled by the 1970s spate of white teen girl druggy runaway movies, Go Ask Alice with William Shatner, 1973, and the made-for-TV Christensen cult classic, Maybe I'll Come Home in the Spring, starring Sally Field as a hippie who can't come home again. My folks were on me like the Harper Valley PTA on the mini-skirted widow. My dad asked me, "How many fingers am I holding up?" thrusting his hand in my face. I tried to joke my way out of the room. "I don't know, Dad. 2, 3. He upped his ante to a more complex math problem, asking me what the score would be if the A's scored 2 more runs. My mom knew the score in both senses of the phrase. She was always the more suspicious and right, as it turned out. My dad was cool. He would drop me off and say, "Don't drink anything you didn't open yourself," to counter my mom's "Don't drink anything, period." A few years later, it was she who opened the door as my rum-soaked prom dress slipped down and pooled at my bare feet, my date having propped me against the screen door and sped off. She who shook me awake the summer of my senior year, dropped off drunk and asleep on the porch swing. My clothes were still damp because I had jumped in Lake Michigan with my friends, fully clothed as one does, the scent of gin and tabs seeping from my pores. My mom dragged me inside, shrieking, "Whitey, her clothes are soaked." He proposed, "It's probably just dew." I had become audacious, but not that first time in the summer of 77 when I was just plumb paranoid. Somehow I'd slithered out of the Sox game quiz bowl, made it to my bedroom, lay on my bed, and shook till it got dark enough to fall asleep. So that's one reason why I don't smoke pot. And another one is it's illegal and I'm scared I'll get thrown in jail. Hey, Jenna. I am a professional woman with a house and a dog and grown kids and grandchildren. Still, I would totally break the law if I knew it would help me sleep past 4:20 a.m. and with no railroad track trauma, RT PTSD. I know they breed weed all fancy now and you can adjust the strain for whatever buzz you're looking for, but I'm still nervous. It's not the ditchweed shake we choked down on the tracks of yore, but finely calibrated designer dope. I will stick to my trazodone for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alicia. The Tracks of My Fears, written by Ann Christensen. 1977, they had some pretty good ditchweed. All Black Cats, written anonymously and read by Jada F. Smith.